Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all distinguished dignitaries, Honorable Minister, delegates and audience members to this inaugural session of the Confederation of the Indian Industries Southern Region Higher Education Conclave 2025 on the theme of Reimagining Higher Education for India's $5 trillion economy. May I now request the dignitaries to come to the stage and occupy their respective seats. Thank you. Thank you so much. So without further ado, let us begin the inaugural session. First, it is my pleasure to invite Dr. Ashwin Mahalingam, Co-Chairman, CII Southern Region Task Force on Education and Industry Institute Linkages, and Professor and Dean, Alumni and Corporate Relations, IIT Madras, to deliver the welcome remarks.
Thank you very much. Good morning again, everyone. And on behalf of CII and on behalf of our task force, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the Honourable Minister, Shri Nara Lokesh, to this symposium. Sir, we have a bit of a conundrum that we are facing. On the one hand, we say 5 trillion economy and, all of these jobs that we are going to create and things like this. But on the other hand, currently I'm also the Dean of Alumni and Corporate Relations at IIT, so I go around talking to industry. And everyone says the same thing. They all have long faces and they say we're unable to find talent. Right? So this seems to be a little bit of a paradox. On the one hand, jobs are, we are creating more jobs. We have institutions like VIT, IIT and others. And on the other hand, people still complain that they're not able to find employable graduates. So I think that is the crux of the issue that we're trying to address through this conclave. Now, as we were coming up the elevator, I was just telling the Honorable Minister that he and I have something in common. We both went to Stanford. And I just completed my PhD when he entered for his MBA. But I think one of the things I think we should reflect upon is what can we do to create Stanford kind of institutions here? Whether it's an IIT Madras or an IIT Tirupati or a VIT Amaravati, what do we need to do? And I'd love to hear your reflections also on what you felt were some of the secret sauces behind the Stanford or VIT experience. But there are a few things that came to my mind. One is, as I'm sure you will agree, when you look at the student body, they're very diverse and multi-talented. People were good at many things and they were not necessarily only academic fields. And I think that sort of was one thing that contributed to that university occupying pride of place. Second is you had this amazing group of faculty who were just dreaming and imagining wonderful things, and they brought a lot of that into the classroom and things like this, which really inspired and motivated people. They were extremely well resourced, so they could start new centers. We were just talking a little bit about quantum and what we're trying to do together. That's clearly one of the next big horizons as far as technology development is concerned. 4, there was this, there is this sort of DNA of entrepreneurship that pervades campus. Before you get there, you don't think about entrepreneurship. Once you're there, that's all you can think about. And somewhere, a mix of all of these, and perhaps there are other factors, led to a university which was not only trying to fill a few jobs that industry had, but was trying to actually create the next set of frontier ideas and technologies that could move the economy forward. So in some sense, what we are trying to do here, we had one session earlier this morning and we'll have a couple more after this, is to deliberate upon what we can do in India to get to that point where we have educational institutions that are leading the charge as far as ideation, technology development, research, training, skilling, all of these are concerned. And hopefully at the end of today, we would have made some progress in terms of thinking. But beyond thinking, we also have to think about how we would go ahead and implement. And that's where I think the support of government is going to be critical. I think in India, in the US, you can have these completely private universities that do well. But I think in India, we are at a situation in the history of our country where we need government, academia, and industry to work hand in hand. And hopefully, and I think this is the wonderful part about organizations like CII, because it's the Confederation of Indian Industry, but we have got the Honorable Minister with us, and some people like me who are chairing committees are from academia. So we get all of these groups together. So hopefully, we can continue plodding along, and at some point, really realize all of these visions that we have for India being an intellectual and technological superpower. So with that, I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister and welcome all of you to today's events. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Malingam, for that insightful start to the morning. To deliver the theme address of the conclave, may I now invite Dr. G.V. Selvam, Chairman, CII, Southern Region, College Excellence Cluster 2025, and Vice President of the Vellore Institute of Technology.
Distinguished guests, respected member of CII, leaders from academia, industry, and dear friends, good morning. At the outset, I like to thank our young and energetic Honorable Minister, Brother Mr. Nara Lokesh, for accepting our invitation. When we started discussing about this conclave, where to conduct and who should be invited, everyone immediately said it should be in AP. Do you know why? When we met the CM, he mentioned about his plan of 2047. He was planning for Quantum Valley. Always he used to say, if a person who thinks about next election is a politician, a person who thinks about next generation is leader. Our CM is a leader. So everyone said it should be in AP. Then who should inaugurate? Then no other option. Our chief guest, young and energetic minister. CII, an organization that has constantly played a transformative role in shaping the nature's future. Through centers of excellence and partnership with the government on policy initiatives and deep engagement with industries, CII has truly been bridge between aspiration and achievements of our country. To all the members of industry here, I see you as partners in the same value chain. In higher education, we nurture deliver professionals. They in turn work with you to create products and services which ultimately fuel India's economy. Together, we form a seamless ecosystem that powers national growth. As you reflect the theme, reimagining higher education for India's 5 trillion economy, I can't help but look back at a distance we have traveled, the road that lies ahead. Somewhere in the journey, we must pause and ask, what must we change? What must we preserve? And how do you prepare our youth, not just for jobs, but the future itself? Last year, I met an alumni in the US. I was speaking to one of our alumni there, a brilliant engineer who graduated 20 years back, now working in a multinational company in the US. He said, the quality of work of Indian offshore team has declined so sharply that the cost of rework and correction often outweighs the savings from outsourcing to India. The trust in Indian graduates, he said, is slowly eroding. It is a wake-up call, a reminder that the global respect India earned through excellence must never be taken granted. Next example. A close friend of mine, who is head of a department in medical college, recently expressed his helplessness. Students, he said, are focused on cracking postgraduate exams that are not attending classes regularly. Unlike earlier, generations of medical students would study every page of the human textbook with dedication. Today's learners often rely on short videos multiple choice questions, and YouTube and coaching apps. These incidents point out one uncomfortable truth. What I can come to realize is, in our pursuit of making education accessible to everyone, which we had indeed achieved to some extent, but somehow long way, we have lost quality that one hour defined us. Today, we often hear from the industry, things are just not made the way it used to be, where its products, services, or even professional competency and craftsmanship we are once proud to be fading. In a rush to expand, we have perhaps forgotten the excellence, not just education, it truly builds a nation. Mediocrity has become normalcy. This needs to be changed. Our country traditionally known for excellence in whatever we did and built. It's time we reclaimed our legacy. CIA's theme mentions accelerating competitiveness, globalization, inclusivity and sustainability and trust, aim to enhance India's competitiveness by promoting global engagement, inclusive growth, sustainable practices, and foundation of trust. The theme is based on the premises that the country's future and however will be defined not just by the pace of its growth, but the quality. However competitive, inclusiveness, sustainable, and trustless is economical model that becomes great. At VIT, we take this message to the heart. We constantly remind our students, don't study for marks, learn with passion and mastery. We encourage practical implementation of the theoretical knowledge. We have seen recent trends. With changing visa policies, the number of Indians going to US has dropped. By this year, around 44% has dropped going to US. While some of this setback, but I see it as an opportunity. Necessity is the mother of invention. So during COVID, India succeeded because of this necessity. It has remained to us, educators, policymakers, and industry leaders, that we must create world-class opportunity right in India. As our PM said, make in India, we should make it study in India, study in AP. To achieve 5 trillion dream, our higher education must shift focus from producing job seekers to nurturing job providers. At VIT, our students receive much support for entrepreneurship as they do for placements. Every startup we nurture, every idea we fund, every innovation we encourage contributes directly to the Indian economy and social transformation. The new magic word, AI. I want to see AI in a different angle. And finally, we cannot talk about future of higher education without addressing artificial intelligence. Yes, AI can make more efficient, but over-dependency can make us intellectually weaker. I often notice even a simple student request letter today identical. Why? Because of ChatGPT. Human civilization has progressed because every generation dared to push the limits of its thinking. Each era expanded the boundaries of imagination, creativity, and intelligence. But today, the rapid rise of AI, we quickly outsourcing even our thinking. The work that our challenge our minds is now being handed over to machines. If this continues unchecked, human evaluation will not move forward. It may in fact start to reverse. Our brains, like unused muscles, will begin to lose their strength. We must make our students aware of its danger. Technology should enhance our productivity, not erode our creativity. It is wonderful when machines take our physical burdens like washing machines, dishwasher, and or perform tasks beyond human capability. But when they start doing our thinking of us, we risk losing what makes our unique human and imagination. So today, relying entirely on calculators, smartphones, and internet. But what happens if one day these tools are no longer within reach? True learning must live within us, not as a device, not in the cloud, but not in our own minds. Our education system must ensure that students carry their knowledge within them at all times. Friends, this 5 trillion dream is not just an economical goal. We must reimagine higher education as the foundation of national competitiveness, innovation, and trust. Let's together do it now. I hope today's conclave will be very useful for national growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Silvam, for setting the tone for today's discussion and for that thoughtful and inspiring speech. Moving ahead, we are privileged to have with us Mr. Philip Asmus, founder and CEO of First Gen UK. We now invite him to deliver his special address.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honourable Minister and delegates. It's an honor to be here. I don't think anybody knows me, so just like 2 words in regards of that. I'm originally from Germany and have some masters and did a lot of stuff in my life. I've been an entrepreneur very up and an entrepreneur very down, and had a lot of experiences in regards how real life in entrepreneurship is. And I dedicated my life to a thing which is, in the beginning, a lot of people said, Philip, you're crazy. What is innovation also about, right? So reimagining education is one thing. You need education in order to create innovation. And when you monetize on innovation and have the impact as well, you can put something back in order to have more education, to democratize education as well. Not everybody has access to it, as we all know. So we started here in this university, Mr. Rajvangapandu reminded me, in December 23. So, and out of that, we created, out of innovation, 134 companies out of innovation out of India. Because what we do is, with a value, by the way, with like more than $1.5 billion. So this is wonderful. And the journey, what we started 1.5 years ago, is about the following. If you look at the numbers in innovation and the actual outcome is, in my opinion, somehow devastating, right? 3 to 4% of all innovation globally get funding. We know the numbers 90 to 99% up to fail. A lot of dreams, explode somewhere. And so a lot of potential is wasted. The innovation deployment is way too slow. So what when I reimagined after quite some painful journey in life is like a new way how to create value, how to create companies, how small and medium-sized companies are born. So how to increase the number of successes, how to give access to everybody to make it, right? Because usually it's a lack of knowledge, lack of resources, lack of money, lack of trust-building capabilities. So this is why we put also investment banks, like not the best topic here, but say we invented the first alternative to venture capital itself, right? So as a university or as an innovator, you have like multiple ways of monetizing this, like starting your own company. So you risk it all. But imagine you invent like 100 things. You can focus on 1 or 2, right? 98 are lying somewhere. Or if you have like a portfolio, like a lot of innovation is like wasted in the drawers, right? You can't lift the monetary part where you can do something good with it, reinvest into research and development or scholarships and whatsoever not. So as I said in the beginning, we already built 134 companies basically as a test run, and now we are executing on it in thousands. So our goal is, could sound a little crazy here, but it's a new model. We automate and standardize company building, right? And it's a fair payout system, so we don't have round financing. But our goal is to build up to 100,000 companies per year. We are able to cut the cost by 99.x%. So we reduce the risk in early stage by 99.x%, right? The rest we cover with our earnings, so we basically can deliver their companies basically risk-free in early stage. The value we generate comes from like up to 20 times faster system than nowadays manually expansion. And so we can generate value better, right? So we can offer a service to students. First time you can think about, hey, I can push the risk and the sleepless nights and the hassle to a third party, also in masses. And this is what we offer, and we are now expanding. So we are, within the next few days, we are thankfully, I got informed that there are a few thousand ideas and patents we will put in the system, so we can potentially generate, I don't know, 5 to 10 billion in value, also in cash out of it, where we hopefully can also give a lot back for the pre-trust in this new thing, also to India, to also the state of Andhra Pradesh. We had like a lot of talks here, and to the region, in order to unitedly do something better. So this thing is not a competition to venture capital. There are a lot of upsides, a lot of hopes, but it's an addition. Let's put it like that. So what I mentioned before, you couldn't either do it yourself, sell it, good luck, or have royalties. And now we get at another layer that you can push it in masses as a service, right, to monetize on your innovation. And if you are fast in innovation, if you monetize in masses, and our own earnings we take and also put that in purposeful projects, right, non-profits, we can actually unitedly, I think, with innovation and implied education, we can change quite a bit. So everybody has the same chances. We generate jobs. We expect up to 50 million jobs per year out of that program, right? So I'm talking also internationally to a lot of governments, and basically it's an interesting discussion, like how many jobs do you want to have? So we can create basically a new type of company, small and medium-sized enterprises, on a date or a certain time frame, right? And this is an interesting discussion, and this is basically on a fixed price, and everybody wins. So it's not on the shoulders of the academic side or innovators, because nowadays they usually don't earn that much. It's usually the bigger money who gets the biggest pie, and the academic side, the brains behind it, or you're sitting here, usually has like a small pie in the end. And it's also, one thing we want to change. So thank you for listening just for a few minutes here. Hopefully we can add a lot of value to the region, to the people, to all innovators. And if you have any questions also later on, we're here for a few days here. We have for the CII Partnership Summit. Thank you very much also for the invitations, and have a great, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asmus, for that inspiring and very encouraging speech. Next, I would like to invite Professor K. Ratna Sheelamani, Vice Chairperson, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, Government of Andhra Pradesh, for this special address.
Distinguished guests, particularly the Honorable Minister for HRD, Sri Lokesh Garu, then esteemed academicians, respected industry leaders, and all other members of the distinguished audience, and the students also. It's a privilege to be here to speak on this occasion of this important topic, reimagining higher education for India's $5 trillion economy. All the topics which have been identified for this meeting, for this conclave, are of great significance, and which have been discussed on and off in the last few decades also, particularly in the last couple of decades. So the first one seems to be bridging the industry-academia gap to transition students from curriculum to careers. Now this requires a multi-pronged approach, of course, focused on certain issues like collaboration, practical experience, skills development, and faculty engagement. And for this, we need to follow certain strategies, and which have been done to some measure over the few years. University should involve industry experts in the design, review and regular update of academic curricula to ensure that they reflect current industry needs and emerging technologies. So this helps in incorporating job-ready skills and technical knowledge that employers in the industries seek. And the other thing is experiential learning. We've been talking of hands-on experience, which needs to be integrated into programs through perhaps mandatory internships and apprenticeships and so on. And corporate-sponsored projects and case studies also can be brought into the classroom, which allows students to apply theoretical knowledge in actually solving business problems. And the industry academia collaboration cannot be emphasized too much, of course. We need to foster strong long-term partnerships through corporate advisory boards, joint research initiatives and collaborative competitions like hackathons. And to some measure we have been starting these things in different universities. So this provides the students with the necessary exposure to the industry and whatever is required of them. And skill development focus is also important. For some years now we have been emphasizing on hard skills and soft skills. So the technical knowledge is as important as the soft skills like critical thinking, problem solving, communication, teamwork and self-management. So these are often cited as major gaps as far as the graduates are concerned, in spite of good efforts being put in by the different institutes. And to cater to all these, to inculcate all these skills and so on in the students, faculty development also should progress on an equal rate. So faculty also should gain practical industry exposure through corporate immersion programs, maybe short-term industrial projects and so on. So that helps educators and faculty to bring real-time, real-world insights also into their teaching. And of course, technology integration is a must in this tech-driven world. Coming to the other area which has been identified for discussion in this conclave is the need to redesign degrees in India for emerging sectors to realize $1 trillion economy, and this requires a very fundamental shift, a paradigm shift, in fact, we can say, in the higher education system. And but this has become all the more imperative because of the directives in the National Education Policy NEP 2020. When we need to redesign these degrees by focusing on flexibility, multidisciplinary learning, skill integration and strong industry collaboration. So when we have multidisciplinary and flexible curricula, I think we are moving towards, we have to move towards holistic education, and rigid compartmentalization between different disciplines. For example, arts versus science, etc., cannot survive in today's world. They don't serve their purpose also. So we need to combine subjects. We need to allow students to combine subjects across disciplines. Perhaps computer science with management, or law can be combined with technology. Now, the other need is to integrate vocational and skill-based education into the curriculum, into the mainstream academic programs, so that the skill gap which exists in the graduates can be addressed. And maybe this requires mandatory internships, apprenticeships and hands-on projects. And perhaps it has to be started in the first year itself. Now, focusing on emerging technologies is another strategy that we need to attend to. Our students have to be exposed to new age technologies like AI, ML, data analytics, cybersecurity, and IoT, the Internet of Things and so on. And we know that the government is also trying to establish centers of excellence in AI, particularly in key sectors like health, sustainable cities, agriculture, etc. And again we come to this point, the collaboration between institute and industry. This is necessary because hybrid learning and experiential learning are the focus these days, whether it be in sciences or technology or even in humanities or languages, particularly language teaching. We are speaking of the necessity of adopting online, digital and hybrid learning formats along with virtual reality and augmented reality in the classrooms. So this is what we have for long been describing as learning by doing. So the students learn a lot by doing, and it provides them the motive and the confidence also to move forward. And they can apply then the theoretical knowledge effectively to whatever things they are doing. And again, this also brings us to the importance of promoting innovation and entrepreneurship. And these days, many universities are becoming hubs for innovation with incubation centers, and there is also support for startups and encouraging students to transform their ideas into commercial ventures, because we have to be in keeping with the national development goals. But then this brings also the question, what about the public universities? And this is where I think governments have a major role to play. And not only that, I think private support is also necessary. Private universities are doing well, of course, as far as infrastructure resources are concerned. But then, how much is it possible as far as the public universities are concerned? Because if you see the emerging sectors, which have high growth potential in India, the redesigned degrees include technology and IT, fintech, that is digital payments and so on, financial services, renewable energy, sustainable development, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, and infrastructure. Then moving on to the other significant topic here, how the universities are playing an economic role, more so these days. They have to evolve from traditional degree granting institutions to dynamic innovation hubs. In the process driving regional growth and national economic growth. So for a long time, universities had two functions, major functions, education, teaching and research, of course, doing basic fundamental research. But I think they are now called upon to serve another mission, that is to serve as innovation hubs, to foster innovation among the students. And the thing is, universities are known to generate new knowledge through cutting-edge research, of course, but then which needs to be commercialized through other mechanisms like patenting, licensing of intellectual property, and so on. And again, fostering entrepreneurship also cannot happen without the collaboration between the university and the industry. And for innovation, again, you need a lot of infrastructure. That's a point I've already made here. So again, if universities are required to play a significant role in this whole process, then how are public universities going to be performing? That's the question. And of course, universities also can serve to create job creation in the locality, in the region. So regional economic development also is possible by attracting investment and also contributing to whatever that region is famous for. So it may be fisheries, or it may be marine biology, or it may be some other thing which that particular region or district is famous for. So by contributing to knowledge in that area, also, and performing, encouraging students to do more research, I think that way also to the universities can contribute to the local regional economic development. And the other aspect is internationalization of education, which has always been there in the last, I think, decade or 2 decades. Several universities have foreign students, of course, and also in the research programs. So in this way we need to integrate an international, intercultural or global dimension into education. This is with the aim to prepare students for an interconnected world because of the impact of globalization. And there are several benefits, of course, of this aspect. One is economic. Well, in many countries, they see at the additional revenue that can be achieved because of the presence of the international students. And the other one is academic and educational. When you have internationalization in educational institutes and so on, we can foster collaboration, we can promote exchange of knowledge, and encourage the faculty to maintain international standards. At this juncture, I think I wish to make this point also. In many universities, for awarding PhD degrees, 3 examiners are a must, and in some universities, the 3rd examiner is usually from abroad, a foreign examiner. So that enables the faculty and the students also not to dilute the standards, because they know that all the 3 examiners have to pass their thesis or whatever. So we faculty then are encouraged to meet international standards and not become too local or remain within their comfort zone and so on. Then social and cultural implications are also there. It enhances empathy, understanding, and truly enables our students to become global citizens, because in a globalized economy that is important. And so in this process, there have been mobility programs, of course, involving physical movement of the students, faculty, researchers through study abroad, exchange programs, and so on. Not only that, offering joint research initiatives, dual degree programs, and the establishment of international branch campuses and so on. And the last one, which has been identified, is leveraging technology in education by integrating digital tools and resources so that learning becomes more engaging, accessible, and effective. And the AI-powered platforms I think are increasing these days, not just in science and technology, but even in language teaching. There are researchers who are experimenting with using AI-powered tools in teaching languages. And that way we can have an interactive content which caters to individual student needs and learning styles, and they can learn at their own pace. And also because of this, we have lot of access to information and other resources in the form of online libraries, academic journals, massive open online courses like MOOCs and so on. And so by way of conclusion, this is a call to collective action. The road to a trillion economy which is the backbone of what the Prime Minister calls Viksit Bharat, is a developed, knowledge-driven India, and this is possible only in collective action. So when academia and industry come together, innovation becomes not only possible but sustainable and impactful. So, as I said once again, if you permit me to, this is nothing new today, but maybe is getting reinforced even more because of NEP 2020. But we have been talking of the presence of industries in boards of studies in the different subjects of different universities and so on. Well, we do have industry experts in the board of studies, but usually, they might be busy to participate in our boards of studies, because when we are talking of revising and updating our curricula to the industry needs, well, their suggestions are very important. But sorry to say, though this has been going on for a lot of time, at the most, there is only a tangential involvement between the industries and the universities. So, more industry involvement in the universities, in the institutes, I think will result in a much more fruitful and fruitful economy, and also in terms of scientific and technological development. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Professor, for your informed, comprehensive perspective. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for. It is our privilege to welcome the chief guest for this inaugural session, Sri Nara Lokesh, Honorable Minister for Human Resources Development, IT, Electronics and Communication and Real-Time Governance, Government of Andhra Pradesh. We request you, sir, to deliver the inaugural address. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, industry leaders, academicians, innovators, my dear students, good morning. Let me congratulate first CI, the Southern Region, and VIT for hosting an amazing forward-looking conclave. But I don't necessarily agree with them. The vision set here is reimagining higher education for India's $5 trillion economy. We should be thinking about our $30 trillion economy. India is going to achieve 5 trillion. Whether the leaders who are sitting here do what they're supposed to do or not, we will achieve $5 trillion economy. The question is, how fast can we achieve the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's vision of India achieving its $30 trillion economy depends on the kind of reforms, collaboration, changes that we all do together here. Economic growth is not possible without intellectual and human capital being harnessed. Higher education is not merely a sector for me, it is a strategic pillar here in Andhra Pradesh. 54% of our population is under the age of 25, which makes us one of the youngest workforces. It is a greater asset, and yes, demographic dividend is here to be harnessed. But it also presents unique challenges. The challenges is in terms of our employability, in terms of our ability to adapt to the changes that the world is going through. Only 34% of India's working age population has received a formal training. This is compared to 96% in South Korea, 80% in Japan, and 75% in Germany. The recent economic survey stated that only 51% of our graduates are employable. 51%. There is a big mismatch of what we teach and what the market demands. To be fair, in our current higher educational institutions, we are not able to provide any gainful employment even after 3 to 4 years of formal training. Whilst youngsters go to Amirpet and within 4 to 6 months of training, they're able to find a job. So I truly believe that fundamental transformation, not correction, transformation is required in higher education. We must move from degree acquisition to skill activation. We can draw a lot of examples from across the world. Dr. Ashwini ji just mentioned about Stanford University and asked me to explain why Stanford has fostered innovation. And to be fair, it's a very old institution. It has built itself organically. But the most important thing is the ability of the institution to transform itself, to adapt to changes around itself. And when I went to Stanford, I was part of the old curriculum at the Graduate School of Business. I was literally the last batch of the old curriculum. And Brahmni, my wife, is also Stanford MBA. She was part of the new curriculum. And there's so much of sea change between the curriculum, the approach, that even universities have to start transforming themselves. Otherwise, they become irrelevant. Professor Ratnaji just mentioned about public universities. So that is my concern. Public universities also should transform themselves. They should be led by best in industry to drive changes. Only then will they also be relevant in higher education. There is always a persistent gap between, academia and industry. Lot has been discussed today about it. But it's very, very important that we accelerate reforms. So APSHI, Vice Chair is here. All the thought leaders are here in this room. What is important is pace, speed at which we bring in the change. We must accelerate reforms through dynamic curriculum updates, structured internships, mentor and career guidance ecosystem, and faculty immersion programs. This is not merely a luxury, this is need of the hour, this is necessity for India. As all of you are aware, there has been a change in the government in the 16 months back. And the Honorable Chief Minister signed one of his first GO, which was skill census. And the idea was, how do you assess the citizens across various traits? And then what kind of skill intervention we should provide. As leaders have said, Mr. Naidu is a visionary. He always looks ahead of the time. And then he leaves execution to youngsters like me. We tried skill census in its traditional census format in my own constituency, Mangalgiri, and we failed miserably. We were unable to assess across the various traits that today people are gainfully employed. And that is where we have just launched an initiative called Naipunyam. And Naipunyam is not merely a supply-demand aggregator of jobs, but it is a platform to assess skills across any trait available. And that is where AI has really come to help us. So you're an AC mechanic or a two-wheeler mechanic to an AI engineer, you will be assessed using AI, and we will be able to give you clear skill interventions, including training, so on and so forth, to help you upgrade. Our youth is globally recognized for their adaptability, discipline. And to be fair, Andhra Pradesh has led the revolution of IT from the front. And that is why if you look at all the major global institutes and companies are all headed by people from the 2 Telugu-speaking states. We have great institutions now in Andhra Pradesh, including VIT, the IIT Tirupati, IIM Visakhapatnam, and of course our public universities are going through their own transformative phases. But what makes it even more exciting is Andhra Pradesh has positioned itself for the next generation of jobs, next generation of startups. It could be in data, it could be in quantum, it could be in innovation. Andhra Pradesh will lead from the front. Drawing from the inspiration of our Honorable Prime Minister, we have created our own vision 2047 called Swarnandhra. It is to achieve a $2.4 trillion economy here in Andhra Pradesh by 2047. And to all the youngsters here, because you will definitely see this vision happen, you will see 2047. Take it from me, we won't need that much time here in Andhra Pradesh to deliver our target. I believe that there are 5 transformation pillars that are very, very important for us to achieve it. One is curriculum to careers. It's very, very important to shift from textbook learning to competency-based problem-solving education. And every syllabus must be co-designed by industry to be measured against employability outcomes. Professor Ratnaji explained that industry apathy is there. I don't necessarily agree with her. The titans of industry have very limited time. We as a state have to be proactive. We have to deliver on the speed. We shouldn't waste their time. Only then will they be willing to invest time to help us transform our entire curriculum. So APSHI should work even harder than they are, including the chairperson, to involve the industry in terms of bringing in the requirements, changes to the curriculum. Research and innovation is the second pillar. Each university COE must host incubators, patents and startup hubs. It's very, very important that we also tie up with other global universities. I've had an opportunity to be to Australia. Recently I visited quite a few universities in a very short time I was there. It's fascinating to see the kind of research that's happening there and how each university over a period of time has developed deep understanding and deep research in a sector. So a great example of this is a New South Wales University, which is, while it offers courses across sectors, their specialization is in solar cell. And I saw a 10,000 square feet rapid prototyping center, which was quite inspiring. And we are going to bring it to IIT Tirupati. We're already in touch with them to sort of look at how can we now bring collaboration between industry, academia and research together. So I think this is very, very important for all of us to work. The third pillar is our digital future skills. AI, quantum, semiconductors, green tech, robotics are here. But as Selvam ji has said, please don't outsource your creative thinking to ChatGPT or Gemini. While trivial tasks, we can use it. To be fair, please don't replace your creative thinking or critical analytical thinking using ChatGPT or AI tools. Internationalization is something that was discussed threadbare. It is very important to have tie-ups with global institutions because what they offer is exposure. What they offer is alternative thinking. This, I believe, is very, very important if India has to deliver on its $30 trillion mission. Inclusivity and regional balance is the other very, very important subject, and this is something very core to the heart of this administration. While Amaravati is our capital and there's a lot of work, I'm sure all of you would appreciate, now that rains have subsided and we are able to restart all the works here in Amaravati. But for us, all regions and all parts of the states are equally important. But what we have done is a very focused clusterization. So if you look at Anantapur, it's the automotive hub. Kurnool is the renewable energy hub. There's a lot of cement manufacturing coming in that zone because they have limestone. Electronics manufacturing is coming between Kadapa and Chittoor. A lot of work is happening in compressed biogas in Prakasam district. Erstwhile Nellore district is already diversified. All of you will be surprised to know 50% of India's air conditioning is manufactured here in Andhra Pradesh. We've signed with LG, Daikin and Blue Star. We're going to take this to 70%. Imagine one cluster, 70% of India's air conditioning is going to come. Compressed biogas, as I said, in Prakasam. Here in Krishna Guntur is capital. We have quantum now coming and we have few other industries coming here. East-West Godavari districts are exceptionally well known for their fisheries, and we're working hard to take that forward. North Andhra is going through its own transformation. It's going to be a $1 trillion ecosystem, starting with a pharma hub, chemical hub, medical devices manufacturing hub, to a steel city. I thought we'll be building one new steel city. It looks like we're going to build two new steel cities in Visakhapatnam. And the entire data ecosystem, IT ecosystem that's getting built out there. Why am I sharing this with you is we believe in the power of vertical and horizontal integration in each of these clusters. So let me take an example of your mobile phone. All of you are taking pictures, so I thought that was apt. You have a screen, you have a camera, you have a camera lens, you have a lithium-ion battery in it, you have a haptic engine in it. All these are roughly manufactured by about 1,000 suppliers. And our vision here in the state is to bring these 1,000 suppliers to that cluster and build a thriving ecosystem. So looking at it from an end-to-end perspective, that's what I call verticalization. And horizontal is where my department, HRD, comes in. Curriculum, skill development, testing of equipment, and third thing is certification of this equipment. So when I met the Blue Star leadership, they said we manufacture 50% of India's air conditioning, but if I have to get a heat pump certified, I have to send it all the way to Germany. And why is that the case? Why are they not here? And you want to make it a 70% ecosystem, then we need to bring in the entire certification here to India and to this particular cluster. So what you're going to see in the next 3.5 years is a tight integration between our vertical and horizontal approach, and we'll create a thriving cluster in each of these zones. And I would like to thank CI for their continued support, but I would also like to request CI that they need to run at the pace of the Andhra Pradesh government. We've done consultative committees. We have a sense of urgency. Andhra Pradesh was, exactly 18 months back, not in the radar of any investment or investor coming to India or even in India. But today we have attracted close to $120 billion worth of investments already. And the partnership summit that we're hosting 14th, 15th in Visakhapatnam, we're hoping to close another $120 billion investment. By the end of our term, as we go for re-election in 2029, I have a vision that we can attract $1 trillion worth of firm commitment. So these are investments that obviously will not get done in the year that they're signed, but they will start. So if you look at ArcelorMittal project, it takes 7 years for all 3 phases to be implemented, but $15 billion will get invested in that project. If you look at the Google Data City, it's $15 billion that will get invested in 3 years. So we will bring $1 trillion worth of investment here to Andhra Pradesh, but I would request CI to run at the pace of Andhra Pradesh government so that we can work collaboratively, we can look at changes proactively, and we are here not to waste your time. We are here to take your input and implement it to make sure that the Andhra model of collaboration is truly implemented in spirit. So industries should co-design curriculum. I think that's something that all of us touched upon. Universities should host industry labs. So I'd request VIT also. I know quantum computer is coming here, but I think we should look beyond even quantum and few other areas that we can sort of engage with. And of course, as a government, we are here to provide an enabling framework, a policy framework that is not rigid, that is not tight. Madam Ratnaji did mention the importance of cross-collaboration, humanities working with computer science. I agree with Madam because I am a product of it. My bachelor's is in information systems, but in Carnegie Mellon, it was not part of the computer science school. It was part of humanities and social science. So where 50% of our curriculum was about managing people, projects, execution, timelines, and 50% was only on technical programming, coding, and so on and so forth. So I think we have to, as state, as APSHI, we have to be a lot more flexible, lot more proactive. Our policies have to be very, very proactive to ensure that this kind of collaboration can actually be achieved. And yes, together with all the youngsters in this room, we will make India proud. And honestly, I'm tired of hearing about Beijing, Shenzhen, Tianjin. It is time to hear about India's models. We have a gift city, we have Amaravati, we have our own models that will thrive over the next decade, and together all of us here can make it a reality. If we have to achieve this, if we have to make this a reality, the most important thing that all of you need to have is fire in your belly. You need to have it. As a government, we will provide the framework. As educationalists here, they will provide world-class education here. Skill development will be provided. But one thing we cannot give is fire in your belly. You need to have it. You need to set tall goals and you need to go chase those tall goals. When this government came in, we didn't expect to achieve $120 billion worth of investments in such a short time. To be fair, that is equal to the investments in the last 10 years of Andhra Pradesh history. Last 10 years. But then we are not happy. We said we can do even better, we can do even more. And that is why we're chasing it. That's because we have fire in our belly, and it's important that you have fire in your belly. And dream big. People around you will laugh. People around you will make fun. But if you don't dream, you really cannot achieve what you want to achieve. If we don't dream, we cannot make India a developed nation. So dream big, but then care to achieve. You have to be meticulous, you have to focus on your execution and ensure you put in the time that is required to deliver it. And honestly, life is not a destination, it's a journey. It's important that we constantly learn. You constantly expose yourself globally on what's happening. Enrich your knowledge, work together and build a collaborative environment. And life is never a straight line. The highs are very high, the lows are very low. If there's anyone who's gone through it, it is me. In 2019, when I contested in my constituency, which my party only won in 1985, I lost. A lot of people made fun of me, but I didn't care. I said my goal is set. I am going to go about achieving it. 5 years I worked hard. I didn't leave it. I refused to accept defeat. And 2024, I won it with one of the highest majority in Andhra Pradesh history. Life is not fair, but then keep at it. Only if you work hard, you can achieve the targets that you set yourself out to achieve. And Partnership Summit is one forum. I know that quite a few partners here are coming. We should engage, we should exchange ideas. And definitely my goal is very simple. Strong states is strong nation. When states compete, India wins. So we will compete with Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana and all other states, including Gujarat. And I'm sure India as a country will win. And the most important thing, I would like to request APSHI, VIT, to all our partners here, that speed is of the essence. It's no longer about big versus small. It's about slow versus fast. Today, Andhra Pradesh is able to ground so many projects. It's sheerly because we take it upon ourselves to ensure that speed is delivered. Only then we can achieve what we want to achieve. I know that curriculum changes are not easy. I know that there's always will be a lot of resistance. But I would like to request the titans of the academia also to approach the subject with open mind. What we have done so far has worked for us. I'm not saying it's not worked for us. But I don't believe it is enough to take us to our $30 trillion goal. So we have to have open mind. We have to embrace changes a lot more proactively. All the HODs have to look inward into their own departments. See how we can sort of improvise. It could be a transformation or it could be reforms. But we have to do it. There's no second thought about it. So I request all of you to embrace speed and definitely make Andhra Pradesh proud. And all of you are part of history. You know, when I was growing up, because everyone here is quite younger than I am. So when I was growing up, I saw Hyderabad develop in front of my eyes. I was jokingly saying, I've seen every part of Outer Ring Road get developed in front of my eyes. I remember how we used to crib that there was no connectivity to Shamshabad airport back then. But today it's of course very well connected. You're exactly seeing that magic happen in front of you here in Amaravati. Next 3 years is going to be a really transformative experience for Amaravati, for Andhra Pradesh. And all of you are going to witness history in making. And all of you should be part of this history. You should look at starting companies. You should look at nurturing things, embracing opportunities that the great state of Andhra Pradesh is going to give you. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. And I look forward to more interactions. Next time around, I would love to interact with students, understand their aspirations, their expectations, and I'll bring my entire APSHI here. They will also have to understand, because I keep telling them they're yet to catch up to my speed. So they need to come in front of students. I think then they'll be able to appreciate the hunger, the fire in the belly that our children have. I look forward to coming back and interacting with students again. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.